The silence in space was broken by a weak signal that reached the human ship Iron Eagle. Commander Jake Patterson was drinking his morning coffee when the communication system started beeping. He put down his cup and walked quickly to the control. "Panel Amy, are you getting this?" called to Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez, who was working at her station nearby. Amy looked up from her computer screen, her dark hair falling across her face. She pushed it back and listened to the strange sounds coming through the speakers. The signal was unlike anything she had ever heard before. It was musical, almost like singing, but there was something sad and desperate about it. "It's not from Earth or any of our colonies," Amy said, adjusting the controls to make the signal clearer. "This is something else entirely." Captain Lisa Hayes walked onto the bridge, her boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. She was a tall woman with short blonde hair and serious blue eyes. She had been captain of the Iron Eagle for 3 years, and her crew trusted her completely. "What do we have?" she asked, moving to stand behind Amy's chair. "Unknown signal, Captain. It's coming from the dead zone near the Crimson Nebula. The translation computer is having trouble with it, but I think it's a distress call." The bridge became quiet except for the strange alien song that filled the air. Chief Engineer Rick Torres came up from the engine room, wiping his hands on a cloth. He was a short, muscular man with kind eyes and graying hair. "Captain, I heard the alert. Is everything okay?" Lisa pointed to the speakers. "Listen to that, Rick. What do you think?" Rick stood still and listened for a moment. Even though he could not understand the words, the tone was clear. Someone was in trouble. "Sounds like they need help," he said simply. Dr. Kevin Walsh entered the bridge, carrying his tablet computer. He was the ship's science officer, a thin man with glasses who loved solving puzzles. He had been trying to understand the signal from his lab. "Captain, I've been analyzing the transmission. Signal's very weak and getting weaker. Whatever is sending it doesn't have much power left." Amy worked at her computer, trying to make sense of the alien language. Slowly, words began to appear on her screen. They were rough translations, but they told a frightening story. "Ship dying. Help needed. ... Crew sick. ... Please respond." The bridge crew looked at each other. They all knew what this meant. Somewhere out there in the dangerous space near the Crimson Nebula, people were dying. "Where exactly is the signal coming from?" Lisa asked. Sam Brooks, the ship's navigator, checked his instruments. He was young, but very good at his job. His hands moved quickly over the controls as he calculated the location. "It's coming from inside the nebula, Captain. Like about 6 hours away at maximum speed." Everyone on the bridge knew about the Crimson Nebula. It was a place where ships did not go. The space there was filled with deadly radiation and strange energy storms that could destroy any vessel. Many ships had been lost there over the years. "That's a death trap," Rick said quietly. "Ship can survive long in that radiation." Lisa walked to the big window that showed the stars outside. She thought about the decision she had to make. The safe choice was to report the signal to Earth Command and let someone else handle it. But by the time help arrived, whoever was sending the signal would probably be dead. "Amy, can you send a response?" she asked. "I can try, Captain. But I don't know if they'll understand it." "Tell them we're coming." Amy's fingers moved over her keyboard, trying to put the simple message into the alien language. After a few minutes, she sent the transmission. Into Space Operations Officer Claire Bennett spoke up from her station. "Captain, shouldn't we contact Earth Command first? This could be first contact with an alien species." Lisa nodded. "You're right, Claire. Send a message to Command. Tell them what we've found and what we're planning to do." While Claire sent the message to Earth, Dr. Walsh continued studying the alien signal. He noticed something interesting about the way it was transmitted. "Captain, this is fascinating. The signal isn't coming from metal or plastic like our ships. The transmission pattern suggests it's coming from something organic, something alive." "A living ship?" Lisa asked. "It's possible. Some theories suggest that advanced civilizations might grow their technology instead of building it." The reply from Earth Command came quickly. Claire read it aloud. "Exercise extreme caution. First contact protocols are in effect. You are authorized to proceed, but the safety of your crew is the priority." Lisa looked around at her crew. These people had been with her through many dangerous missions. They trusted her to make the right choices, and she trusted them to follow her anywhere. "All right, people, we're going in, Rick. I need the shields at maximum power. The radiation in that nebula will be unlike anything we've faced before." "Already." "Working on it, Captain. I'm routing extra power to the shield generators. Sam, plot a course that takes us through the safest route you can find." "Yes, Captain. But I have to warn you, there's no really safe route through that nebula." "Amy, keep trying to talk to them. Let them know help is on the way." Amy continued sending messages, trying different ways to communicate. Finally, she got a response. The alien voice came through the speakers, and this time the translation was clearer. "Unknown ship, ... Grateful for response. Our vessel is failing. Many crew members are sick." The name meant nothing to any of the humans, but they could hear the relief in the alien voice. Someone out there now had hope. Dr. Rachel Green, the ship's doctor, came to the bridge. Was a small woman with red hair and a calm manner that made everyone feel better during emergencies. "I heard we might be dealing with alien injuries," she said. "I'm preparing the medical bay for unknown biology." "Good thinking, Rachel. We have no idea what we're going to find out there." The Iron Eagle began to move toward the deadly nebula. As they got closer, the space around them began to change. The stars became dim as clouds of red gas blocked their light. The ship's instruments started showing higher and higher levels of radiation. "Shields holding steady," Rick reported. "But we're definitely feeling the effects. Temperature is rising in some sections." Through the window, the crew could see the beautiful but dangerous nebula spreading out before them. It looked like red fire frozen in space, with lightning-like energy dancing through the gas clouds. "There," Sam said, pointing at his screen. "I'm picking up a solid object about 2 hours ahead that has to be their ship." As they flew deeper into the nebula, Amy kept talking to the aliens. She learned that their ship was called the Gentle Current, and that they were explorers who had been studying old legends about extinct civilizations when their ship was damaged by radiation. Amy said, "They keep asking about our ship. They seem surprised that we can survive in this radiation. Tell them we're built tough." Lisa replied with a small smile. What the humans did not know was that on the dying alien ship, Captain Veltar and his crew were looking at their instruments. In amazement, the readings showed that the unknown ship was not just surviving the deadly radiation, but seemed to be completely unaffected by it. "How is this possible?" whispered Chief Science Officer Nethera, her 4 delicate arms trembling as she worked. At her controls, no known species can survive these conditions. The Zephyrians had spent their lives studying the peaceful civilizations of the galaxy. They had never encountered anything like this mysterious ship that flew through death itself to answer their call for help. As the Iron Eagle pushed deeper into the crimson hell of the nebula, both crews were about to discover that sometimes the most unlikely heroes come from the most dangerous places. The Iron Eagle moved deeper into the red clouds of the crimson nebula. The radiation levels kept getting higher, but the human ship pushed forward without slowing down. Captain Lisa Hayes stood on the bridge, watching the swirling red gas outside the windows. "How are we doing, Rick?" she asked into her communication device. Chief Engineer Rick Torres answered from the engine room. "Shields are holding fine, Captain. The radiation is strong, but nothing our systems can't handle. We're built for this kind of thing." Navigator Sam Brooks looked up from his instruments. "Captain, we're getting close to the alien ship. I can see it on the long-range sensors now." "Put it on the main screen," Lisa ordered. The large display. Screen at the front of the bridge flickered, and then showed an image that made everyone stop and stare. The alien ship looked nothing like any human vessel. It was smooth and curved, like a giant sea creature floating in space. Its surface seemed to pulse and move as if it were breathing. "My God," whispered Dr. Kevin Walsh. "It really is alive." The ship was beautiful, but clearly dying. Parts of its surface were dark and still. Other sections flickered with weak lights, like a heart that was barely beating. It was much larger than the Iron Eagle, but it looked fragile and helpless. "You still in contact with them?" Lisa asked. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez nodded, her fingers moving over her keyboard. Yes, Captain. They're very weak, but they're still talking. They say they can see us approaching. On the alien ship, Captain Veltar watched his instruments with growing amazement. The unknown vessel was moving through the deadly radiation as if it were empty space. His people had been dying slowly for days, but these strangers seemed completely unaffected by the poisonous environment. How fast are they moving? He asked his navigation officer, Keshti. The young Zephyrian checked her readings twice before, answering, "They're actually getting faster, Captain. They're speeding up as they come toward us." Veltar could not believe it. His own ship had been damaged after just a few hours in this radiation. These mysterious beings had been flying through it for hours and were still increasing their speed. What kind of creatures were they? Chief Science Officer Nithara looked up from her station with wide eyes.
Captain?
The crew appears to be bipedal, carbon-based, but their biology is unlike anything in our databases. They be artificial beings? Machines that look like living creatures? Veltar wondered. No, sir. These are definitely organic life forms, but they're incredibly resilient. The radiation that's killing us doesn't seem to bother them at all. Back on the Iron Eagle, Communications Officer Tony Miller was working with Amy to improve their translation systems. They had been talking to the aliens for hours now and were getting better at understanding each other. Captain Amy called out, "They're asking what kind of protection we're using against the radiation. They can't understand how we're surviving out here." Lisa thought about how to answer. The truth was that the Iron Eagle's shields and hull were designed to handle Earth's dangerous space environment. Radiation storms, asteroid fields, and solar flares were common hazards that human ships had to face. But she did not know how to explain this to aliens who had never seen anything like it. "Tell them we come from a place where this kind of danger is normal for us," she said. Amy translated the message and sent it. A few moments later, she looked up with a confused expression. "Captain, they're asking if we're from a military civilization. They want to know if we're warriors." Lisa frowned. "Warriors? Tell them we're explorers just like them." When this message reached the Zephyrian ship, it caused even more confusion. Captain Veltar and his crew talked quietly among themselves. In their musical language, explorers who fly through death itself? Chief Science Officer Nithara said softly, "What kind of world could produce such beings?" Bioengineer Talvin, who had been trying to keep their ship alive, looked up from his work. "Perhaps they come from a world where such conditions are common, a place so dangerous that its people had to become incredibly strong just to survive." The idea frightened and amazed the gentle Zephyrians. They were a peaceful people who had evolved on a calm, beautiful world. The thought of a planet so hostile that it created beings who could survive anything was beyond their understanding. "Captain Hayes," Sam Brooks called out. "We're close enough now to get detailed scans of their ship. Dr. Walsh, you need to see this." Dr. Walsh moved to Sam's station and looked at the readings. What he saw made him shake his head in wonder. The entire ship is one large organism. It has organs, a circulatory system, even what looks like a nervous system, and it's dying from radiation poisoning. "Can we help it?" Lisa asked. "Maybe, Dr. Green, I need you to look at this. If we think of their ship as a patient instead of a machine, we might be able to treat it." Dr. Rachel Green came over and studied the medical readings. "This is incredible. It's like a whale that learned to live in space. The radiation has damaged its cellular structure, but if we could find a way to shield it or repair the damage, we need to get closer," Lisa decided. "Sam, bring us alongside their ship. Extend the docking tube and prepare for boarding." "Captain, Operations Officer Claire Bennett said with concern, "We don't know anything about their atmosphere or biology. It could be dangerous. That's why we'll go in with full environmental suits. But we can't help them from a distance." As the Iron Eagle moved closer to the dying alien vessel, both crews prepared for their first face-to-face meeting. The humans put on their protective suits and gathered their rescue equipment. The aliens watched their instruments in fear and wonder. "They're coming aboard," Veltar told his crew. "Prepare to meet our ... visitors." The Zephyrians did not know what to expect. In their minds, these beings were either saviors or conquerors. The fact that they could survive impossible conditions made them seem like gods or demons. When the airlock opened, Sergeant Pete Morgan was the first human to step onto the alien ship. He was a big man, made even larger by his environmental suit and the equipment he carried. Behind him came Dr. Walsh, Dr. Green, and several other crew members. The first thing they noticed was how beautiful the ship was inside. The walls curved like the inside of a shell, and soft lights moved through them like flowing water. Everything was smooth and organic, without any sharp edges or hard surfaces. The second thing they noticed was how delicate the aliens looked. Captain Veltar and two of his officers waited to greet them. The Zephyrians were tall and thin, with pale blue skin that was almost transparent. They had 4 arms and large eyes that showed both intelligence and fear. When Veltar saw the humans, he could barely believe what he was looking at. They moved easily in their bulky suits, carrying equipment that looked impossibly heavy. They showed no signs of stress or fatigue, even though they had just traveled through a radiation storm that should have killed any living thing. "Greetings," Dr. Walsh said through his suit's communication system. Amy had programmed it to translate his words into the alien language. "We are here to help." Veltar tried to speak, but his voice came out as a whisper. The stress of the situation and the shock of meeting these incredible beings had left him weak. "We ... we are grateful," he managed to say. "But how? How do you survive? What are you?" Dr. Walsh looked around at the dying ship and then back at the frightened alien captain. "We're just people who answered your call for help," he said simply. "Let's see what we can do to save your ship." Dr. Kevin Walsh walked carefully through the alien ship, his heavy boots making soft sounds on the living floor. Oh, the walls around him pulsed weakly like a sick heart. Behind him, Dr. Rachel Green carried her medical equipment while Chief Engineer Rick Torres studied the strange organic systems. "This is amazing," Dr. Walsh said into his communication device. "The entire ship is like one giant creature. It breathes, it has a pulse, it even seems to feel pain." Captain Veltar followed them slowly, his 4 delicate arms trembling with weakness. He could barely believe that these armored beings were moving so easily through areas of his ship that were filled with deadly radiation. "The damage is worst in the forward sections," he told them. "Many of my crew are trapped there, cannot reach them because the radiation levels are too high." Dr. Green stopped and checked her instruments. The radiation readings were indeed very dangerous, but not more than what human equipment was designed to handle. "We can get to them," she said. "Our suits can protect us." Veltar stared at her in amazement. "Those areas would kill any of my people in seconds. How can you survive what we cannot?" "Where we come from, this is normal," Rick explained, adjusting his tools. "Our world taught us to be tough, while the humans worked." Bioengineer Tylvan tried to explain their ship's condition. "The radiation has poisoned the ship's living systems. Its organs are failing one by one. Without help, it will die within hours, and we will die with it." Dr. Walsh knelt down and placed his gloved hand on the wall. Through his suit's sensors, he could feel the weak pulse of the dying ship. "What if we treated it like a patient instead of a machine? Rachel, do you think our medical supplies could help?" Dr. Green opened her equipment case and pulled out various medicines and tools. "It's worth trying. The cellular damage looks similar to what we see in severe radiation poisoning in humans." As they worked, more humans arrived from the Iron Eagle. Sergeant Pete Morgan led a rescue team carrying emergency equipment. Behind him came several other crew members. While moving easily through the dangerous environment, young navigator Keshti watched them with wide eyes. She was barely more than a child by Zephyrian standards, and she had never seen anything like these strange beings. They looked like warriors in their protective suits, but they spoke gently and moved carefully to avoid damaging the delicate ship. "Are they really here to help us?" she whispered to Captain Veltar. "I think so," he replied, though he still could not fully believe it. "They risk their lives for strangers." "What kind of people do such things?" The answer came when alarms started sounding throughout the ship. Chief Science Officer Nethera called out in panic from her station, "Captain, Section 7 is collapsing." Navigator Keshti was checking the damaged sensors there when the ceiling started to fall. Everyone turned to look, but Keshti was standing right there with them. "No," she said in confusion. "I was going to check Section 7, but I have not gone yet." The other navigator, Nethera, clarified, her voice full of fear. "Young Morthic. He went to Section 7 to repair the navigation sensors. He is trapped under the collapsed ceiling, and the radiation there is lethal. We cannot reach him." The Zephyrians looked at each other with horror. Section 7 was flooded with radiation so intense that even approaching it meant certain death. Nothing they could do. Lieutenant Colonel John Baker, who had just arrived with the rescue team, stepped forward. "Where is Section 7? He asked calmly. "You cannot go there," Veltar said quickly. "The radiation will kill you instantly. Even your protective suits cannot handle those levels." John checked his suit's readings and looked at the radiation. Measurements Nethara showed him. The numbers were indeed very high, but not beyond what human emergency equipment could handle. "I've worked in worse conditions," he said simply. Before anyone could argue, John was already walking toward the damaged section of the ship. His heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors as he made his way. Deeper into the dying vessel, the Zephyrians watched their instruments in terror as John entered Section 7. The radiation levels, there would have killed any of them in seconds. But the human walked through it as if it were harmless air. "I see him," John's voice came through the communication system. "The young alien is trapped under some fallen debris. He's unconscious but still breathing. I'm going to get him out." What happened next became a legend that the Zephyrians would tell for generations. John Baker, a human from a world so dangerous that its people were like living myths, carefully lifted the heavy debris that had trapped the young Zephyrian. He picked up the injured alien as gently as a parent lifting a sleeping child. "He's hurt, but not too badly," John reported as he carried Morthic back through the radioactive corridors. "Dr. Green, prepare to treat radiation sickness." When John emerged from Section 7 carrying the young Zephyrian, the alien crew could barely speak. They had just watched someone walk through certain death to save one of their people. And he acted as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Dr. Green immediately began treating Morthic's injuries while the other humans continued their work throughout the ship. They moved through areas that the Zephyrians could not even approach, repairing damage and helping the dying ship heal. "I do not understand," Veltar said to Dr. Walsh. "Why do you risk everything for strangers?" "What do you gain from helping us?" Dr. Walsh looked up from the ship's organic systems he was studying. "Someone needed help. We were able to help." "It is as simple as that, but the danger." "There is always danger," Rick said, from where he was working on the ship's circulation system. "On our world, we learn that you help others when they need it. The danger does not matter." As the hours passed, the combined efforts of human technology and Zephyrian knowledge began to show results. Dr. Walsh discovered that human medical treatments could indeed help the ship's poison systems. The medicines Dr. Green had brought were slowly cleaning the radiation damage from the ship's organs. Meanwhile, Reek and his engineering team worked with bioengineer Tilvin to repair the ship's vital systems. The humans' tools and the Zephyrians' understanding of their living ship made a powerful combination. "The heart chamber is responding," Talvin reported with excitement. "Ship's pulse is getting stronger." Throughout the ship, lights began to glow brighter as the dying vessel slowly came back to life. The walls started pulsing with more energy, and the air became cleaner as the ship's breathing system began working properly again. Young Morthic woke up in the medical area where Dr. Green had been treating him. The first thing he saw was the face of the human doctor looking down at him with concern. Even through her protective helmet, he could see her kind eyes. "How do you feel?" she asked through the translation system. Morthic tried to speak but could only whisper. You saved me. The human warrior saved me. We all saved each other, Dr. Green replied. That is what friends do. Captain Veltar found himself standing beside Captain Lisa Hayes, who had come over from the Iron Eagle to see how the rescue was going. Both captains watched their crews working together to save the Zephyrian ship. Your people are not what we expected, Veltar said quietly. What did you expect? Lisa asked. Legends speak of Deathworld warriors who cannot be stopped or reasoned with, being so dangerous that entire civilizations flee from them. We thought such creatures would be monsters, Lisa smiled, though Veltar could not see it through her helmet. We are not monsters. We are just people who learn to be strong because our world demanded it. But strength is not just about surviving danger. Real strength is about helping others survive too. As if to prove her point, Sergeant Morgan walked by, carrying an injured Zephyrian crew member to safety. His powerful arms held the delicate alien with incredible gentleness. Like a giant being careful not to hurt a butterfly, the ship continued to heal as humans and Zephyrians worked side by side. For the first time in days, there was hope aboard. The gentle current. The beings the galaxy feared as mythical destroyers had revealed themselves to be the greatest protectors anyone could have asked for. The gentle current was alive again. The ship's walls pulsed with healthy rhythm, and warm light flowed through its organic corridors. Captain Veltar walked through his vessel with wonder, seeing sections that had been dark for days, now glowing. With renewed life in the main meeting chamber, humans and Zephyrians worked together around a large table made from the ship's living wood. The humans had removed their helmets now that the ship's atmosphere was clean and safe. For the first time, the Zephyrians could see their faces clearly. Dr. Kevin Walsh looked nothing like the terrifying warrior the aliens had imagined. He was a thin man with kind eyes and graying hair. When he smiled, which he did often, the Zephyrians could see that he was gentle by nature. Yet this same man had walked through deadly radiation to save their ship. Your biology is fascinating, Dr. Walsh said to bioengineer Tylven as they compared notes on their tablet computers. Your people evolved on a world with perfect conditions. No dangerous weather, no harmful radiation, no natural disasters. Tylven nodded, his 4 delicate arms moving gracefully as he worked. Our homeworld is what you might call a paradise. Gentle rains, warm sunshine, peaceful oceans. We have never known hardship or danger. That explains why you are so fragile. Dr. Rachel Green added from where she was teaching young Morthic about human medicine. Your bodies never needed to develop defenses against harsh conditions. Chief Science Officer Nithara looked up from the data she was studying with operations. Specialist Danny Fox. Dr. Walsh, may I ask about your homeworld? The readings we took from your ship suggest conditions that would be impossible for most life forms to survive. Dr. Walsh and Danny exchanged glances. How could they explain Earth to beings who had never known danger? Our world is challenging, Dr. Walsh said carefully. We have storms that can destroy cities, radiation from our sun that can kill, earthquakes that can swallow buildings, and weather that changes from burning hot to freezing cold. The Zephyrians stared at him in horror. A place, whispered Navigation Officer Keshti. We learned to adapt, Communications Technician Maria Santos explained. Our bodies became strong to handle the stress. Our minds learned to solve problems quickly. Our hearts learned to work together because alone, none of us would survive. Captain Veltar had been listening quietly to these exchanges. Finally, he spoke. We have been studying the legends of Deathworlds for many years. According to our records, there are planets so hostile that any civilization that develops there becomes incredibly powerful. Most galactic species believe such worlds are myths. Why myths? Asked Captain Lisa Hayes, who had joined the meeting. Because the conditions described are so extreme that most scientists believe complex life could never evolve there. A world with massive storms, deadly radiation, unstable geology, extreme temperature changes, and dangerous predators sounds impossible. Science Officer Beth Turner laughed softly. That sounds like a normal Tuesday on Earth. Veltar's large eyes grew even wider. You speak of such terrors as if they are common things. They are common for us, Chief Engineer Rick Torres said simply. Our cities are built to survive earthquakes. Our ships are designed to handle radiation storms. Our people learn from childhood how to live with danger. Our engineer Tyle Vaughn pulled up a holographic display showing the galaxy.
Captain Hayes, we must tell you something important. Your species is classified in our databases as extinct.
Lisa frowned. Extinct. But we are obviously not extinct. The galactic community believes that Earth destroyed itself long ago. The conditions there were thought to be so horrible that no civilization could survive. Most peaceful species are forbidden to even approach your star system. Forbidden? Amy Rodriguez asked. By whom? Chief Science Officer Nithera answered. By the Galactic Federation. Earth is listed as a Class 12 death world. Contact with any surviving life forms is considered extremely dangerous. The official records say that death world species are too violent and aggressive to allow into civilized space. The humans looked at each other in surprise. Communications Officer Tony Miller shook his head. We have been sending signals into space for over a century. Did no one ever receive them? We received them, Veltar admitted quietly. Many species did. But the signals came from the legendary Earth, so we assumed they were old recordings from a dead civilization. No one believed that life could still exist there. Dr. Walsh leaned back in his chair. So the galaxy has been avoiding us because they think we are too dangerous to contact. Not just dangerous, Tylven explained. The legends say that death world species become so powerful that they conquer everything they encounter. Stories tell of warriors who cannot be killed, weapons that can destroy stars, and fleets that sweep across the galaxy like a plague. Sergeant Pete Morgan, who had been listening quietly, finally spoke. Do we look like conquerors to you? The Zephyrians looked around the room at the humans who had risked their lives to save strangers. These beings had entered a death trap too. Rescue people they had never met. They had worked for hours to heal a dying ship. They had shared their food, their medicine, and their knowledge freely. No, Veltar said softly. You look like protectors. Navigator Sam Brooks pulled up a star chart on his computer. How many other species are there in the galaxy? Thousands, Nithera replied. The Galactic Federation includes over 3,000 peaceful civilizations. We share knowledge, trade goods, and help each other explore the universe. None of them know the truth about humans, Lisa realized. None of them would believe the truth, Velvin corrected. The image of Deathworld warriors is too strong. Even seeing you here, helping us, many would think it was some kind of trick. Young Morthic, who had been rescued from the collapsed section, spoke up shyly. When I was trapped and dying, Lieutenant Colonel Baker came for me. He walked through. Radiation that should have killed him carried me to safety like I was his own child. That is not the action of a conqueror. Dr. Green smiled at the young Zephyrian. On our world, we have a saying. With great power comes great responsibility. We became strong so we could protect those who need protection. But why? Veltar asked. What do you gain from helping others? Petty Officer Chris Jackson, who had been quietly repairing some of the ship's systems, looked up from his work. What do we gain? We gain friends. We gain knowledge. We gain the satisfaction of knowing we made the universe a little bit better. On Earth, Captain Hayes explained, we learned long ago that we are stronger together than apart. When storms come, we help our neighbors. When disasters strike, we share what we have. When someone calls for help, we answer. Even if it is dangerous? Keshti asked. Especially if it is dangerous, Rick answered. Anyone can help when it is safe and easy. Real character shows when you help, even though it might cost you everything. The meeting continued for hours as both species shared their knowledge and experiences. The humans learned about the vast galactic community that existed. Beyond their small corner of space, the Zephyrians learned that the legendary Deathworld warriors were not monsters, but guardians. As the day ended, Captain Veltar stood before the assembled crews of both ships. My people, we have witnessed something that will change our understanding of the universe. These humans have shown us that strength and gentleness can exist together. They have proven that the most powerful beings can also be the most caring. He turned to Captain Hayes. "We would be honored to introduce your species to the Galactic Federation. The galaxy has lived in fear of legends for too long. It is time they learn the truth." Lisa smiled. "We would like that very much. But first, let us make sure your ship is completely healed. Friends, take care of each other." As both crews returned to their work, the universe itself seemed a little smaller and a lot more friendly than it had been before. 3 days had passed since the rescue began. The gentle current was now completely healed and flying smoothly through space. The deadly radiation of the Crimson Nebula was behind them, and both ships traveled together towards safer space. Captain Lisa Hayes was sharing breakfast with Captain Veltar in the Zephyrian ship's dining area. The room was beautiful, with walls that showed images of their peaceful homeworld. Gentle music played softly, created by the ship itself. "Your ship makes its own music?" Lisa asked, listening to the soft melodies. "The gentle current expresses its emotions through song," Veltar explained. "Right now, it is happy. It has not been this healthy in many months." Suddenly, the music stopped. Chief Science Officer Nithare called from the bridge. "Captain, we have multiple ships approaching. It is a Zephyrian patrol fleet." Both captains hurried to the bridge where they could see several alien ships on the display screen. The patrol vessels were smaller than the gentle current but moved with military precision. "They are responding to our original distress call," Veltar said. "I forgot we sent it days ago before we met you." Amy Rodriguez was at the communication station, listening to the incoming messages. "Captain, they are asking about the human ship. They sound worried." Fleet Commander Zorath appeared on the main screen. He was an older Zephyrian, with silver markings on his pale blue skin. His forearms moved nervously as he spoke. "Veltar, we received your distress signal 3 days ago. Came as quickly as we could. Are you under attack? Why is there a Deathworld vessel with you?" The humans and Zephyrians on the bridge looked at each other. This was the moment they had been preparing for. How do you convince someone that everything they believe is wrong? Commander Zorath, Veltar said calmly. "We are not under attack. The humans saved us. They are our friends. Friends." Zorath's voice was full of disbelief. "Captain, you must be ill. Deathworld species do not have friends. They only have victims and future victims." Captain Hayes stepped forward. "Commander, I am Captain Lisa Hayes, of the human vessel Iron Eagle. We responded to your people's call for help. We have no desire to harm anyone." When Zorath saw Lisa on his screen, he nearly fell backward. The human captain looked nothing like the monster he had expected. She was calm, professional, and spoke with genuine kindness. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Deathworld beings are supposed to be savage creatures covered in battle scars and weapons." "We left our weapons on our ship," Sergeant Pete Morgan said as he joined the conversation. "Came here to help, not to fight." Dr. Kevin Walsh held up his medical scanner. "Commander, your people were dying from radiation poisoning. We used our knowledge and medicine to save them. But savages do such things." Fleet Commander Zorath ordered his ships to maintain a safe distance while he tried to understand what was happening. "Captain Veltar, explain to me how you survived the Crimson Nebula. Our ships cannot enter that region." "The humans flew through it as if it were empty space," Veltar replied. "Their ship is built to handle conditions that would destroy us instantly, and they used this power to help you. They risked their lives to save strangers," young navigator Morthic added from his station. "One of them walked through deadly radiation to rescue me when I was trapped." Zorath was quiet for a long moment. "May I come aboard your ship, Captain Veltar?"
Aye.
An hour later, Fleet Commander Zorath stood in the meeting room of the Gentle Current, surrounded by humans and Zephyrians working together. What he saw challenged everything he had been taught about Deathworld species. Dr. Rachel Grin was teaching young Zephyrians about human medicine. Chief Engineer Rick Torres was showing Bioengineer Tylvin how human tools could be used to repair living ships. Communications Technician Maria Santos was learning Zephyrian songs while teaching the aliens human music. "This is not what I expected," Zorath admitted to Captain Hayes. "What did you expect?" she asked. warriors demanding tribute, conquerors dividing up territory, destroyers leaving nothing but ruin behind them. We are explorers, not conquerors, Lisa explained. Our mission is to discover new life and learn about the universe. We want to make friends, not enemies. Operations Specialist Danny Fox was showing holographic images of Earth to a group of fascinated Zephyrians. The aliens watched in amazement as the pictures showed massive storms, erupting volcanoes, and crashing waves. Your world looks terrifying, one of them said. It can be dangerous, Danny agreed, but it is also beautiful. The storms bring rain. For our crops, the volcanoes create new land. The challenges make us strong. Science Officer Beth Turner was comparing data with Zephyrian scientists. Your peaceful worlds allowed you to develop incredible biotechnology, she told them. Dangerous world forced us to become incredibly resilient. Together, we could accomplish amazing things. Fleet Commander Zorath walked among the mixed groups, listening to the conversations. Slowly, his fear began to change into wonder. These humans were not the monsters from ancient legends. They were people who had learned to be strong in order, to protect others. Captain Hayes, he said finally, what do you want from us? Nothing, Lisa replied simply. We answered a distress call because someone needed help. That is what good people do. But surely you want something in return. Trade agreements? Technology? Territory? Captain Veltar answered for her. Commander, they have asked for nothing except the chance to learn about us. They've shared their food, their medicine, and their knowledge freely. Young navigator Keshti brought over a small device that the humans had helped her repair. Look at this, Commander. It is my personal music player. It was broken by the radiation, but the humans fixed it. They did not have to do this, but they wanted me to be happy. Zorath held the small device and listened to its gentle melodies. Such a simple act of kindness, but it spoke volumes about the character of these supposed warriors. I need to contact the Galactic Federation, he said. They must know about this. Will they believe you? Dr. Walsh asked. I am not sure. The fear of Deathworld species runs very deep. Some civilizations have been avoiding your star system for thousands of years. Then we will prove it to them slowly, Captain Hayes decided. One species at a time? One act of friendship at a time? Communications Officer Tony Miller looked up from his station. Captain, I am receiving a message from Earth Command. They want a full report on our first contact mission. Tell them we have made friends, Lisa said with a smile, as the day continued. The human and Zephyrian crews worked together to plan the future. Captain Veltar volunteered to serve as humanity's first alien ambassador, while Captain Hayes agreed to escort a Zephyrian delegation to meet other human ships. Fleet Commander Zorath sent a carefully worded message to the Galactic Federation. He reported that the legendary humans were real, alive, and nothing like the ancient stories suggested. He requested that the ban on contact with Earth be reconsidered. Petty Officer Chris Jackson was teaching a group of young Zephyrians how to play simple human games. Their laughter filled the room as they tried to understand the rules of rock, paper, scissors. Why do you enjoy such simple things? One of them asked. Because happiness is not about having the most powerful weapons or the strongest ships, Chris replied. It is about sharing good times with friends. In the engine room, Chief Torres was amazed by how well human and Zephyrian technology worked together. Your living ships could heal themselves if they had our radiation shielding, he told Tylvin. Our ships could grow and adapt if they had your biotechnology. Perhaps that is why we met, Tylvin suggested. The universe brought us together because we have much to teach each other. As both fleets prepared to leave the nebula region, Captain Hayes stood on the bridge of the Iron Eagle, looking out at the stars. Lieutenant Colonel John Baker joined her. What are you thinking about, Captain? He asked. I am thinking about how big the galaxy just became, she replied. We thought we were alone out here. Now we know there are thousands of civilizations waiting to meet us. Some of them will still be afraid of us, John pointed out. Then we will show them, just like we showed the Zephyrians, that humans can be trusted. We will prove that strength is meant to protect, not to conquer. The ships began their journey toward Zephyrian space, carrying with them the hope of a new age. The galaxy was about to discover that its greatest fear had always been its greatest potential ally. The age of isolation was ending, and the age of cooperation was about to begin. Somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, other civilizations would soon receive messages about the impossible. The Deathworld species was real, and they came in peace.